Hi guys, this is Mark from Comprehension, and today we will be talking about comprehensions in Python. The exercise is a rewrite exercise. That means you're given code and you have to write different code based on this code. The difficulty is 3 out of 5, which means if you're an intermediate Python programmer, this will be easy for you. As always, you can find the file together with all the other exercises in my GitHub repository. The link is in the video description. So if you want to try the exercise yourself, which is what I highly recommend, pause the video now and try the exercises, and then we can go through the solution step by step. Okay, in the video description there are 2 websites linked, which in my opinion explain very well how comprehensions work. But now let's go through the exercises one by one and let me explain you how this works. So I have the solution file here on the right and the original code on the left. So let me create a new cell here. And we start with the ordinary basic list comprehension. So let's say even numbers equals, and now we don't create an empty list, but we use the for loop inside the square brackets to create the list directly. So let me write this real quick. We say for I in range 2 to 11, which is actually 10, and then we only take every second step. So let's print this and see if the result is actually the same. And we can see, yes, it's exactly the same. So this is the basic list comprehension. You can see this by the square brackets here, and we use the for loop inside. The next exercise is a dict comprehension or dictionary comprehension. And we can recognize this by the curly brackets. So let me copy this real quick here. We're gonna use this as well. And now we create the same variable here, cities to populations, but now we don't create an empty dictionary as we did on the left side in the original code, but we do the same as in the list comprehension. We create a dictionary directly with the for loop inside. So let me write this real quick. CP, which is the key value pair we are creating. And now for CP in, and we use the zip object again, cities, and what's it called, metro populations. Yes. So what we do is exactly the same. We store not only one value as we did here with the I, but we store a key value pair here. So this is the difference to the list comprehension, and we use curly brackets. So yeah, let me print this as well. Cities to populations, and let's see, we see it's exactly the same as on the left side. Okay, the next exercise is an intermediate exercise, and it's a set comprehension. And let me write this real quick. I don't want to write the whole variable. Try this real quick. And now we create the set with the set comprehension. And this is as follows. Num4 num in range 10, and now we incorporate the if statement, so the condition inside the curly brackets in the for loop. So let me write this and you can see what I mean. So what is happening here? We can actually read this as follows. Store the value of num for every value in the range from 0 to 10, or actually 9, if and only if it's divisible by 3. So this is what's happening here. And the difference to the dict comprehension is that we don't create a key value pair. So this is only one value, but we also use the curly brackets. So this is the difference to the dict comprehension. Okay, let me print this as well. Div. The variable name is horrible, by the way, but I'm apologizing for that, but sometimes I'm really bad with names. Okay, let's see. It's exactly the same. Okay, the next example is a bit silly. It's basically the same as we have a condition, which is if some fruit contains more or equal E's than A's. And the fundamental structure is the same, but we use the square brackets to get a list in this case. So let me copy this, fruits here, we need this. And now we create the list, E fruits equals to, And now the square brackets, not the curly brackets, because we create a list. And we want to store fruit for every fruit in fruits if the fruit contains more e's, more or equal to than a's, more e's than a's. Okay, I forgot to count here. Let's see if this is actually the same. It's not, because I did the same mistake as the last time here. Now it should be the same. Yes. Okay, so it's exactly the same, but the reason I used this exercise as well is because I wanted to show you the difference between the list comprehension and filter plus lambda. So let's check out the filter example. So let's create a variable called eFruits filtered. And again, this name is horrible, but anyway. So let's do this in the end. We want to filter, and we want to filter fruits. Fruits is our iterable in this case. So remember, the filter function takes an iterable and a function to evaluate whether we keep the element of the iterable or throw it away. And this is what we're doing here. So we have the fruits list as the iterable, and now we need a function, and we use the anonymous lambda function, and we pass fruit to it, and then we say fruit. Actually, I can just oh I can just copy this one here because the condition is the same, like this. So now we have lambda fruit, and the condition here, if we have more e's than a's, and our iterable is fruits. And now we need to do this because otherwise we have a filter object and we can't see the result. So let's print a fruits filtered, and you can see it's exactly the same. So check this link here, check this one out. It's a really nice discussion and explanation what's the difference between filter and lambda and the comprehensions and when you should use what. The next example is a bit different because now the if statement comes before the loop, so the order changed. What is the consequence of that? The if statement in the example above decided whether we store an element or not. So this one here, we have it after the for loop. But now we add something in every iteration, but the value we store changes depending on some condition. So specifically in this example, we add a 1 to the list if the square root of I is between 2 and 2.5. It's not the condition itself is not really important, to be honest. We store a 0 in this case. No, stop. We store a 1 in this case, and we store a 0 otherwise. So the length of the list will be 10, no matter what I will be. And this is the fundamental difference to the exercises above. So let's write this real quick. So we have a list called square roots as well, and we want to store 1 if the square root of I, which will be our iterable, not iterable, our iteration variable. So is this correct? So we want to store we want to store 1 if the square root of I is either greater than 2 or smaller than 2.5. And otherwise you want to store a 0 for E in range 10. And we need to import the math module as well. Okay, so just one more time. We have the if statement, the if and the else statement before the loop. So now we store something every time. So in every iteration we store something, but what we store depends on some condition. And before that, we had a if statement after the for loop, which decided if we store an element or not. Okay, so this is the difference here. Okay, let's print the variable here, and we can see 0, 0, 0, 0, so 5 zeros, and we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros as well, and in the end 3 zeros. Yes, this is correct, exactly the same. So let's go through the hard example, which is a bit tricky. Yes, it is possible to build nested comprehensions because the initial expression can be any expression, even a comprehension itself. And this is what we're doing here. We have the key I for a dictionary, which I will show you now. So let's say mult table, which is the small multiplication table you all know from your elementary school, at least I hope so. And let's do it like this so that it's a little bit better to read. Okay, so we start with the curly brackets because we want to have a dictionary in the end. And now we create the key followed by the value. And the value is now a list itself. So we say I times j in another square bracket where we write the list comprehension now. For j in range 111. And now I is still missing because we haven't said anything about I so far. So let's go to the next line and say for I in range 111. Okay, so the outer comprehension is this one here. We have the curly brackets, and let me see if I can try it. No, I can't, but this one here followed by the I, which is the key, and then we have the value, the list here, and we have exactly the same as the dict comprehension before here. So key value pair followed by a for loop. So here we have the key value pair and the for loop. So this is the outer comprehension, and the inner comprehension is now the value itself. I can also write this. No, this is actually not possible, but we can say this. Then we have a dictionary with keys from 1 to 10, and the value is 1. But we can also have a list here, and we create this list on the fly, so to say. Okay, I hope this is clear. Let me print this real quick, and you can see it's exactly the same. So this can be arbitrarily complex, but at some point you should ask yourself, is this readable code or do I just want to show off? So keep in mind that readability counts and simple is better than complex, to quote Tim Peters from the Zen of Python. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it and you learned something. Please let me know in the comments, and as always, leave a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and see you next time.